Hello everyone, you are watching Saheb Academy. If you like our videos, then please subscribe to our channel and also hit the bell icon for the regular updates, and also follow us on Instagram, Saheb Academy. Now let's go to the video.
Hi everyone, this is the third video of liquidation chapter. Now in the previous two videos we have seen the concept of liquidation and we have also seen the format of liquidators statement of account. Yes, now in this video what are we going to do? In this video we are going to solve this simple few problems. Yeah, and these problems are of 5 marks, 4 marks or 6 marks depending upon the universities, and these are simple problems. Okay, and here we are going to focus on the liquidators remuneration. What? Liquidators remuneration. What is that? See, this is a liquidator, right? This person who is appointed by the tribunal or the company. So now this person, liquidator, he will carry on the liquidation process, and he will not work for free, right? Of course he will not work for free, he will charge something, isn't it? So now he will be paid some commission, right? That is called liquidators remuneration. Now that commission can be on various things. See here, the liquidators remuneration can be on payment made to unsecured creditors, on payment made to preferential creditors, or on payment made to shareholders, or on asset realized. Okay, so these are the different forms of liquidators remuneration. He can be paid a commission on unsecured creditors, whatever payment that has been done to unsecured creditors, and whatever payment that has been made to preferential creditors, like that. Okay, so here what happens, here you have to calculate liquidator remuneration while preparing the liquidator statement of account. But here it's simple, you can easily do the calculation, right? Just calculating the percentages, that's it. For example, if the asset realized are, let's say it is 5 lakh, yeah, asset realized is 5 lakh, then let's say the commission is 2%. So how are you going to calculate? Into 0.02, right? That's 2%, 0.02, that's equal to 10,000, isn't it? So 10,000 will be paid to liquidator as his remuneration on asset realized. Simple. So this is how you will calculate it directly when you're calculating on asset realized or on preferential creditors. But the problem arises when unsecured creditors commission is given. When the commission, the remuneration on unsecured creditors is given, then you have to be extra careful. See here, you have to make sure, because unsecured creditors are paid at last, right? So mostly what will happen, mostly in all the question, there will not be sufficient funds available to pay to unsecured creditors. If unsecured creditors, their liability is, let's say the company's liability to pay unsecured creditor is 1 lakh, then mostly at last we will not have sufficient funds. We will have only, let's say 80,000, 60,000 money left with us. So that's when problem arises. The remuneration is paid on payment made to unsecured creditors, not whatever that is due. Payment, how much you pay to unsecured creditors, on that you have to, give the remuneration to liquidator. So that is why you have to be very careful that, and you have to make sure one thing here, make sure funds are available or not. Okay, if funds are available, calculation is simple calculation. Whatever that is due to unsecured creditors, if 1 lakh is to be made, and if you have sufficient funds to make that 1 lakh payment, then 1 lakh into whatever rate, 1 lakh into, let's say if it is 3%, so 1 lakh payment has to be done to unsecured creditors, and we have sufficient funds, then into just the percentage, let's say 3%, 0.03. Simple, 3,000 will be paid to liquidator as his remuneration on unsecured creditors. Simple calculation, right? But what if sufficient funds are not available? If sufficient funds are not available, then the calculation is slightly different. It's not tough, it's very simple. See here, so if sufficient funds are not available, for example unsecured creditors are, let's say 1 lakh, but the funds available with us is, let's say 70,000 or 60,000. So if the amount available with us is 60,000, then from that 60,000 we have to pay to unsecured creditors as well as the liquidator as his remuneration on unsecured creditors. Two things you have to pay out of that. Two things, remuneration and unsecured creditors itself. So that's why you have to use this special formula, that is whatever amount that is available with you into rate, okay, rate of remuneration, whatever rate is there, 3%, 4%, 2%, so rate divided by 100 plus rate. That's it, rate divided by 100 plus rate. So let's say 60,000 is available, then 60,000 into, from that you have to pay to liquidator as his remuneration and as well as unsecured creditors itself. So 60,000 into, let's say 4% is the rate, so into 4, okay, divided by 104, 100 plus the rate, 104. If it was 7% or 6%, 6 divided by 106, like that. So the commission will be 2307. Like that you have to calculate. Yeah, simple thing. Yeah, so this is what you have to be very careful about. Yeah, and when payment to shareholders are also given, you have to make use of this same formula, because here always the funds will not be sufficient. Okay, this formula also you have to use over here. But mostly in all the question, whenever unsecured creditors comes, make sure funds are available or not and use the formulas accordingly, right? So now let's solve the question and let's see this practically how it happens. Okay, let's solve the problem. Now here is the question. Let's go through it once. See here. Unlucky Limited went into voluntary liquidation. Its asset realized by rupees 2,10,000, excluding the amount realized by the sale of securities held by the secured creditors. Now you know what is secured creditors, right? They have a charge on specific assets, and that is called securities, right? When we get a loan from some bank or anything, then what do? We give security, right? Security such as our home, our building, our land, something like that. So that is what is meant by securities here. So those securities will be sold to meet the liability of secured creditors, and that amount at which it is sold, right, it is not included in this 2,10,000. That is what is meant by this red sentence. Fine. Okay, so from the following, prepare liquidator final statement of account, and then they have given us some information here. See here, secured creditors rupees 17,500. This is the liability of the company of secured creditors, and then security realized, that security which was given, that has been sold at rupees 20,000. Fine. So there is a surplus here, isn't it? There is no deficiency or there is no par also. This is surplus here. The liability is 17,500. We have sold for 20,000 the asset. So 2,500 will come to the company, right? Preferential creditors 3,000, unsecured creditors 1 lakh, debentures 1,25,000. Now see here properly. Percentage of debenture is not given. Neither they have said any interest is outstanding, and date of payment is also not given. So here we will not take any interest while making the payment to the debenture holders. We will directly write this only, because here nothing is given, right? No percentage, nothing is given. Date of payment is also not given, and interest, any outstanding accrued interest is also not given. So just this amount will be paid to debenture holders. Okay, just by seeing you can understand nothing is given. So take whatever is there. Yeah, fine. Liquidation expenses rupees 2,500. So this is also we have to pay, and then finally, liquidator remuneration is 3% on amount paid to unsecured creditor. Now here the remuneration is based on what? Unsecured creditors. Okay, so now let's solve this problem. Let's see how to do this. Fine. Now I hope you have watched the second video of this chapter, because in the second video we have seen the format of liquidator statement of account, right? We have seen the format, how it is, and the format is very important in this chapter, because you won't get marks if you do this as you wish. You know, you have to stick with the format. You have to follow the sequence, the chronology. Okay, if you don't follow the sequence, then you will not get the marks. So this is how you have to do it. It's very simple. Receipts, payments. Yeah, what are you going to take in the receipts? All the assets realized first. Okay, the most liquid and then the least liquid, and then what? And then you have to take secured creditor over here. You don't have to take secured creditor here. You know that, right? Secured creditor are paid first because they have a specific charge on the assets, but you have to take them over here to surplus from securities. You don't have to take the entire secured creditors, only the surplus. What will happen is the asset which has been given as a security to secured creditors, right? The asset which has specific charge on it, that will be, you know, written over here, and then secured creditor will be deducted from that, and then whatever extra money that is left, it will come over here. Surplus 1 lakh, secured creditor 70,000, 30,000 will come over here. If asset realized 1 lakh, secured creditor is 1 lakh, then nothing will come over here. And if asset realized is 20,000, secured creditor is 50,000, then you don't have to take negative, the deficiency negative. No, if it is, for example, 20,000 and this is 50,000, then write 20 here, here also 20. Okay, 20, make it nil. And then what do you do? And then take the secured creditor, remaining secured creditor in unsecured creditor. Okay, it will be treated as unsecured creditor. Like that you have to do, right? And then amount received from calls when contributories made. Any amount if you need, you take it over here. And this is the payment sequence. Then you have to follow simple. First legal charges, then liquidator remuneration. And we have seen, right, liquidator remuneration can be of many types: on asset realized, on preferential creditors, like that. So liquidation expenses, then debenture holders, and then creditors. Two types of creditor: preferential, unsecured. We have discussed this preferential also in very much detail. Yeah, and debenture holders, what do they get? They get accrued interest, or you can say interest outstanding. Yeah, outstanding interest, as well as interest till the date of payment if the company is solvent. Face value, interest, outstanding, and then interest till the date of payment if the company is solvent. If company is insolvent, then only the face value of debentures and the outstanding interest, that's it, right? So then comes the preference shareholders. Preference shareholders, they will get their capital back, and their accumulated dividend that are in arrears, that will also be paid to preference shareholders, and if at last anything is left, that will go to equity shareholders. Fine. So this is the liquidator statement of account. You have to follow this chronology, right? So now let's solve this problem. It's very simple. Okay, now let's solve this. See here, first what you have to do, first you have to take all the receipts, right? So the first receipt we have here in this question is the asset realized, isn't it? It's asset realized by rupees 2,10,000. So take that, asset realized. Okay, 2 asset realized. Fine. And then what do we have? And then, you know, we don't have any other receipt except the security that has been sold, this security which we gave to the secured creditors, right? This asset has been sold for rupees 20,000, and we have secured creditors of 17,500. So how are we going to do that? See the format. How? To surplus from securities, the asset that has been sold, take that amount and deduct the secured creditors, and you will get the surplus or the deficiency, right? So that's what you have to do. So let's do that. To surplus from securities, so 20,000 security realized and secured creditors are of 17,500, isn't it? 17,500 secured creditor, security realized rupees 20,000. So of course there is a surplus, right? So of how much? See here, 20,000 security realized 20,000 minus the secured creditor 17,500, that is equal to 2,500, right? 2,500, simple. So 2,500 is the surplus, right? And then do we have any other receipt? No, nothing, right? So now we have to go to the payment side. So now the first payment that we are going to make is what? Legal charges, if there is any, right? Legal charges, liquidator remuneration, liquidation expenses. But do we have any legal charges over here? No, no legal charges. So go on to the next one, liquidators remuneration. Do we have liquidators remuneration over here? Yes, of course. In all the problems there will be liquidator remuneration. See here, liquidator remuneration is 3% on amount paid to unsecured creditors. Now I have told you, right, we have to be extra careful when unsecured creditor, the commission, the remuneration is on unsecured creditors. We have to make sure things, right, whether the funds are available or not, right? But now we haven't made any payment to unsecured creditors, so we'll do that at last. So the remuneration also at last. Okay, so we're gonna leave that empty. So let's just write down that by liquidators remuneration, %3% on unsecured creditor, right? But we don't know what payment have we done to unsecured creditor and whether the funds are available or not. So we are going to make sure that at last. Okay, so leave this empty first and then move on to the next one. So the next payment that we have to do is to whom? To the creditors having floating charge, that is debenture holders, isn't it? That's the format, right? See here. Oh, sorry, there is liquidation expenses also, so we have to see that liquidation expenses are of 2,500. Yes, so 2,500 that has to be paid in priority. So by liquidation expenses, how much? Liquidation expenses 2,500. So take that directly, it's very simple. Then what do we have? Then as I said, creditors having floating charge, that is debenture holders, and here they haven't said anything about interest outstanding or till the date of payment, nothing. And even the percentage of debenture is also not given, so we can't take any interest along with the face value. So we are going to take only this. Okay, debenture holders, only this amount, that's it. Otherwise what do we do? If company is solvent, we pay till the date of payment, interest till the date of payment along with face value. And if the company is insolvent, then only the interest outstanding, that is the till the date of winding up. Yeah, we have seen that in the format, right? So here we are going to take directly by debenture holders. How much? 1,25,000, right? So 1,25,000 as given in the question, the entire amount, 1,25,000, simple as that. And then what do we have? Then we have to go to preferential creditor, the creditors. Yeah, that's the priority, right? Preferential creditors. See here, there are two types of creditors, preferential and unsecured. Preferential are paid first and then the unsecured creditor. So now we have to pay the preferential creditors 3,000. Simple, preferential creditor 3,000. So let's take that. Preferential, yeah, how much? 3,000, right? And then we have to pay to unsecured, isn't it? They are paid at last, right? So take unsecured. But now there is a problem. I've told you, when are you going to make the payment of unsecured creditors, and the remuneration is also there, so we have to calculate that also. So you have to make sure the funds are available or not. But how to make sure whether the funds are available or not? How to do that? We know that we have to use these formulas to calculate liquidator remuneration of unsecured creditors like this, right? These two ways. But how to make sure whether the funds are available or not? See, it's very simple to do that. First, take all the receipts. How much money did you get, right? So asset realized and here surplus. So in total you have got 2,10,000 plus 2,500. Yeah, that is equal to 2,12,500. So you have money, how much? 2,12,500. And then what you did, what payments you made? Payments, see, you paid liquidation expenses of 2,500. So subtract that, minus 2,500. Then minus debenture holders, you made payment of how much? 1,25,000 to the debenture holder. So minus 1,25,000. Then minus what? You also made a payment of preferential creditors. Yeah? To preferential creditors, how much? 3,000. So minus 3,000, you get 82,000 as the amount available. Now you tell me whether the funds are sufficient or not. Whether the funds are sufficient or not. See the unsecured creditors. How much are they? Unsecured creditor, the liability of the company to pay to unsecured creditors is 1 lakh. Yes, 50. These are 5 zeros. 1 0 0 0 0 0. So 1 lakh. So now the unsecured creditors is 1 lakh. So now we have got only 82,000. And you know, in this 82,000 we have to pay the remuneration. We have to pay remuneration, liquidator remuneration. That is 3% on unsecured creditor. And we also have to pay something to unsecured creditors. These are paid at last, so we have to pay to them also something, right? Whatever we have. So now in this 82,000 we have to pay remuneration on unsecured creditor and unsecured creditor itself. Two things, isn't it? So there is a calculation now, that calculation I'm talking about, right? This formula. But now we have to understand the logic behind this formula. If sufficient funds are not available, then why do we use this formula? We have to understand that. See here, it's very simple. I'll just show you here at the back. See here, we have got amount available with us, right? Amount available is 82,000, isn't it? 82,000. We just calculated, right? 82,000. 82,000 is the amount available. Now in this we have to make payment of liquidator remuneration, LR, that is 3% on unsecured creditor. And in this 82,000 we also have to pay to unsecured creditor, isn't it? You see, so this 3% will be calculated upon what? This 3% will be calculated upon normally this 3% would be calculated upon this 100% of unsecured creditor, isn't it? 3% will be calculated on 100% of unsecured creditor. But now what is the problem? Here the problem is we have got only not the entire 100%, we have got only 82,000. So now what do we have to assume over here? That in this there is LR as well as UC. So in total this 82,000 comprises of 103%. What? This 82,000, it includes LR as well as UC. LR is 3%, UC is 100%. So in total this is 103%. So to do the calculation, it's very simple. To calculate liquidator remuneration, LR, that formula we have to use, that simple formula, that is rate divided by 100 plus rate. Whatever amount that is available with you into rate divided by 100 plus rate. So if it is 3% LR, then you have to make 3 divided by 103, right? So amount available is 82,000 into 3 divided by 103. So if you calculate that, if you put that in calculator, 82,000, 82,000 into 3 divided by 103, that it gives you 2388. Now what is this? 2388. This is the LR, liquidators remuneration. If this is the liquidator remuneration from this 82,000 amount that is available with us, with the company, if this is LR, then the remaining whatever is there in 82,000, that is UC. I told you in the beginning itself, this is the last amount available with us. In this there is LR as well as UC as well as unsecured creditor. So now to find out UC, how much are we going to pay to UC? That is also we have to find, right? Now by doing this formula, what we calculated, how much will be paid to unsecured creditor, and that is 2388. right? Let me write that down, 2388. So now what will be paid to unsecured creditor? The balance, the balancing figure, the balancing figure. Okay, keep that in mind, balancing figure. So how to calculate that? Simple, just subtract this with the amount available. See here, 82,000 minus 2388 minus 2388, that gives you the unsecured creditor 79,612. See here, how will you calculate unsecured creditor now? How will you calculate? You see, simple, amount available minus the LR, that is 2388, that is equal to 79,612. We just calculated, right? Yeah, sorry. So 79,612, right? This will be the unsecured creditor payment. Fine. So this is how you have to do it. It's very simple. It's not tough. It's very simple. 79,612, right? Simple. So add those two, preferential and unsecured. 3,000 plus 79,612, that is equal to 82,612. That will come out in the outer column, right? Now just add up everything, right? Add up everything. So let's do that. So first let's do the receipt side. 2,10,000 plus 2,500, that is equal to 212,500, isn't it? 212,500. Yeah, and then here let's do it. 2,388 plus 2,500 liquidation expense plus the debentures 1,25,000 plus the creditors, that is preferential plus unsecured, that is equal to 82,612. If you add those, then it comes out to be 212,500. It will be tallied. Okay, in this small problem, what will happen? In these small problems, always mostly sufficient will not be, the funds will not be sufficient, so always it will tally. Okay, it will tally, right? Because the balancing figure is the unsecured, right? So of course it will tally. Otherwise, if the funds are sufficient, what will happen? The remaining balancing figure will go to the amount, anything that is left, that will go to equity shareholders. Okay, we'll solve big problems also, don't worry. These are small problems that will come for 5 marks, right? 5, 4 or 6 marks depending upon the universities. You understand that, right? Yeah, so this is how you have to do it. Take the receipts, then the payments. Yeah, payments, also there is a sequence you have to follow, and whenever there is any commission, any remuneration or unsecured creditor, don't directly take it, leave it empty, do the unsecured creditor, that calculation which we did just now, right? This is the logic. Yeah, simple logic. This was the funds available with us in which we have to pay to liquidator as his remuneration as well as to the unsecured creditors. Then of course that is the 103%. If it was 5%, if liquidator remuneration was 5%, this is 100%, then it will be 105%, like that. Okay, and then you have to do this calculation, rate divided by 100 plus rate, and then subtract this with the 82,000. You will get the unsecured creditor as a balancing figure. Yeah, this is the balancing figure. This is the balancing figure. Yeah, that's how you do it. Simple. Yeah, so this is how you have to do liquidator's statement of account, and mostly you will get these 5 marks problem in section B. Okay, for the BCom, BBA and BAF students. Fine, right? You get this, right? So now, right, so shall we solve one more problem, or let's do it on another video? Yeah, okay, then see you in the next video. Okay, all right then.